Happy New Year, and welcome to our video for January 2019 astrology horoscope, complete with solar and lunar eclipses, a blood moon, planetary archangels, and planetary aspects, including zodiac angels forecast. First, our disclaimer. Watching this video or reading this document is an act of spiritual willpower, and any such action is considered magic. High magic should be used with all mindfulness, since powerful forces of manifestation are unleashed. This is intended exclusively for entertainment purposes. Remember, magic is simply the art and science of causing reality to conform to will, according to Kabbalah. It's the way miracles actually occur, step by step by step. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. If you'd like to learn how to contact me for a spiritual consultation or psychic astrology, please visit my website at www.readingsbyrosemary.com. New Year's Day, January 1st, kicks off 2019 with the following planetary aspects and horoscope houses using Greenwich Mean Time at 12 p.m., which is noon, being Zohar. Yes, it's that radiance. 12 noon, Zohar, the radiance of the sun, the light. So we're using, remember, Greenwich Mean Time. Now first we're going to show you some diagrams here. Okay, and we're going to bring this in a little closer so you can see it better. I'm going to zoom in for you a little bit here. Okay. Now, what we're going to show you here is we have the sun here in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn, the goat. Okay. Now, the sun being in Capricorn, this is the chart that is going to be for New Year's Day. So what we're doing is we're going to show you first New Year's Day, January 1st of 2019, and then we're going to show you some of the eclipses. One of the eclipses is on the 5th or the 6th. The maximum eclipse time is going to be it's going to be on the 6th, and we're going to get into the specific times. And we're going to use UTC time, and then there's another, that's a solar eclipse. It's a partial solar eclipse. Now there's a total lunar eclipse and a blood moon on the 20th or 21st, and the maximum eclipse is going to be visible at on the 21st. We're going to get into the specific times and all of that again. We're going to get into the planetary aspects, and so we're going to be showing you some charts here for this. Okay, so first we're going to look at the one that is for the right here for the 1st of January 2019. That's New Year's Day. So we're going to get into the specific houses and zodiac angels and planetary archangels. Now, okay, so again, the sun here in the sign of Capricorn, the goat, at 10 degrees 45 minutes in the 10th house of social standing and fame. Planetary archangel Michael, visits abode of zodiac angel Hanael. Capricorn is also associated with the 10th house in a natural chart. Moon in Scorpio is going to be at 18 degrees. That's the moon in the sign of Scorpio, the scorpion. That's at 18 degrees 50 minutes, 50 minutes in the 7th house of law and commitment. Planetary archangel Gabriel visits habitation of zodiac angel Barchiel, because Barchiel is for Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio is associated with the 8th house of birth, sex, death, and debt. So it's an intense house, and that's in a natural chart. So in this particular calculation, it is in the 7th house of law and commitment. But in general, Scorpio is associated with the 8th house, so that's going to come into play as well. Okay, and that's the sex, death, debt, and birth, sex, death, and debt. Again, it's an intense house. Okay, that's what Scorpio is associated with. But again, this one's in the 7th house at this time on this day. Now, Mercury is in the sign of Sagittarius on the 1st. Is Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius? Sagittarius the Archer at 24 degrees, 35 minutes in the 9th house of life path meaning. Planetary Archangel Raphael visits dwelling of Zodiac Angel Adnachiel, because Raphael is associated with Mercury, and Zodiac Angel Adnachiel associated with the sign of Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is also associated with the 9th house in a natural chart. So, in this particular one, the natural house that it's associated with, Sagittarius, the 9th house, is also the same house that it's in on this day at this time. Okay, now we're going to go to the planetary placement of the planet Venus, and that's in Scorpio. Venus here in Scorpio also. Okay, Venus at 23 degrees 59 minutes, and that's in the 7th house of law and commitment. Planetary Archangel Anael visits abode of Zodiac Angel Barchiel, Anael being for Venus and Barchiel being for Scorpio. Scorpio is associated with the 8th house, again, of birth, sex, death, and debt in a natural chart. But in this one, it's in the 7th house. It'll affect the 7th house on this day, but in general, Scorpio is associated with the 8th house. Okay, so that's how this works. Now, Mars on New Year's Day, Mars in Aries. Mars in the sign of Aries, the Ram, at 0 degrees, 16 minutes in the 12th house of spirituality. Planetary Seraphim Samael visits habitation of Zodiac Angel Makizuru, because the Seraphim Samael is the seraphim of the planet Mars, very intense. And Mars rules Aries, so this is going to be extra intense. And Zodiac Angel Makizuru is associated with Aries the Ram. Now, Aries is associated with the 1st house of self and appearances, okay, in a natural chart. But on this day, it's in the 12th house. So it's going to affect, on this day at this time, in the 12th house of spirituality, but in general, it's also going to affect self and appearances, because that's what it's associated with, okay? It's associated, okay? Now, that's, all those things that are about how you appear to others and yourself, and, all the things that we do with selfies and all that kind of thing. Now, please note that in other time zones that are not Greenwich Mean Time, it might indicate that Mars is in Pisces on January 1st of 2019, which places Seraphim Samael of Mars in the sign of Pisces. Pisces, the fish, okay, which is of which the Pisces zodiac angel is a Mitziel, being associated with the same designation as the 12th house of spirituality in a natural chart. So Pisces is associated with the house of spirituality, the 12th house. So on this day, at this time, Mars is in Aries. Again, it's at 0 degrees, 16 minutes in the 12th house of spirituality. Now, Aries in general is associated with the 1st house, the self and appearances. So, and it's also going to affect that. Now, coincidentally, and just because this is at 0 degrees, obviously. So, if you tweak it just a little bit, you're going to end up with Mars being in Pisces if you're in a different time zone. In some time zones, it may indicate that it's in Pisces, which happens to be also naturally the 12th house of spirituality. So just in case, you're in a different time zone, then that explains that to you. Because some people get upset and they get confused and they think that, oh, well, this astrologer said that it's in this house and this time and yada yada. And remember, it depends on where it is, the location. It also depends on the time zone that you're using, and the location of the event. Now, this is, of course, a very big event. Now we're going to go to the planet Jupiter. And the planet Jupiter is here in the sign of Sagittarius at 11 degrees, 52 minutes in the 8th house of birth, sex, death, and death. That's that 8th house. It's associated with Scorpio, but in a natural chart. But this is Jupiter in Sagittarius, which is associated with the natural 9th house. But this is Jupiter in Sagittarius at 11 degrees, 52 minutes in the 8th house on this day at this time of birth, sex, death, and death. Planetary Archangel Sachiel. That's of Jupiter, visits dwelling of Zodiac Angel Adnachiel. It's associated with Sagittarius, Adnachiel. Sagittarius is associated with the 9th house of life path meaning in a natural chart. Okay, so again, on this day at this time, in the 8th house, Jupiter in Sagittarius, but in general Sagittarius, and it will affect the house of life path meaning in a natural sense. So in a natural chart, so life path meaning will also be affected in a more general manner. Now, Saturn in Capricorn. We have Saturn, the planet Saturn, in the sign of Capricorn, the goat at 11 degrees, 26 minutes, and the 10th house of social standing and fame. Planetary Archangel Cassiel, Saturn, visits abode of Zodiac Angel Hanael for Capricorn. Capricorn is also associated with the 10th house in a natural chart. So we've got the 10th house at this day, at this time, Saturn in Capricorn, and on the 1st, okay, and Greenwich Mean Time. Now Capricorn, though, is also associated with the natural 10th house in a natural chart. So it's that's under another, you might want to call it a coincidence, but it's the way they line up. Okay, so this is for, again, January 1st of 2019, and this is going to give you these planetary aspects. Okay, now the major planetary aspects, things like conjunctions and squares and that kind of thing, the major planetary aspects of the 7 ancient planets for January 1st, 2019, we're talking about Mercury, the Sun, which is considered an ancient planet to the ancients, and the Moon is considered an ancient planet also to the ancients. So Sun, Moon, and also Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Not that the other planets aren't important, but they're going to focus on this because they're the ones that are most significant at this time. Now, Sun conjunct Saturn. Okay, so Sun conjunct Saturn. You've got Sun conjunct Saturn. You can see those two are there. Okay, see in the same placement. Okay. Moon conjunct Venus. You have Moon in conjunct Venus. So you've got Moon conjunct Venus in Scorpio. You've got Sun conjunct Saturn in Capricorn. Okay, and Moon conjunct Venus in Scorpio. Okay, we've got Mercury square Mars. Mercury square Mars, here, this red line right here, Mercury square Mars. We have Venus conjunct Moon, we have Venus trine Mars, we have Venus trine, this blue line, trine Mars, Venus trine Mars on the blue line. Mars square Mercury here, the red line. Mars again in the sign of Aries, if you're using GMT, or UTC. If you're using other time zones, maybe in Pisces, but for Greenwich Mean Time or UTC, it's going to be in Aries, Mars in Aries, on January 1st, on New Year's Day 2019. So Mars square Mercury, the red line, and we have also Mars trine Venus. Mars trine Venus, that blue line. Now we have these charts up good and up close and personal on Google and on Facebook. On Facebook, it's Readings by Rosemary on Facebook, and on Google, it's the Astrology Angel, Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. All right. Now we also have Saturn conjunct Sun. We have Saturn conjunct the Sun in the sign of Capricorn. Okay. Now, the Hebrew calendar associations and Zodiac, which in Hebrew is called Mazaroth, placements for the planets. We're going to give you some of the information on what the Hebrew words are for the planet, and what the Hebrew words also are for the constellation. So the constellation is associated with a zodiac sign, okay? And the constellation is going to be the Hebrew constellation, like the constellation of Capricorn is called Gedi. It's Gedi in Hebrew. Like, for example, the constellation of Leo it takes place mostly during the month of Av, but it's in the constellation Leo is called the Ari, or the Ari, line of Judah. you know, that kind of thing. In Hebrew, the Aries. So the month, like Tammuz for Cancer. Cancer, it's Sartan is the constellation, but Tammuz is like the month that it's associated with, that time where it falls into. You know, some, you know, in the English, you know, there's 2 months involved usually, you know, like June and July or something. But in Hebrew, we have Tammuz is the time. So that's kind of where this originates from. So really, it is in Kabbalah. Okay, so the sun is called Hama, and it is in Capricorn called Gedi. The moon is called Levana in Hebrew, and it's in the sign of Scorpio, which is called Acrab in Hebrew, that constellation. Mercury is called Kokav, or Kokav, or Kokab, or Kokav. B and V are interchangeable in Hebrew. In Sagittarius, which is the constellation of Kashat in Hebrew. Now, Venus, the planet Venus, is Noga, and in Hebrew, and in the constellation or the sign of Scorpio, and it's called Acrab in Hebrew. The planet Mars is called Ma'adim in Hebrew, and it's in the sign of Aries, or in the constellation of Taleh, and in Hebrew. Please note, again, other time zones might indicate Mars in Pisces. This Mars in Aries. Okay, it might indicate Mars in Pisces. So Mars in Aries, Ma'adim in Taleh. Okay, but please note that in other time zones, it might indicate Mars in Pisces on January 1st of 2019. If you're not using Greenwich Mean Time, of which Pisces associates with the Hebrew constellation of Dagim. And Pisces would be up here, but we're sticking with this one because we're using Greenwich Mean Time, and that's a nice important time zone to utilize. Okay, it's very important. Now we have Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, and it's called Zedek in Hebrew, and it's in the sign of Sagittarius, which is the constellation of Kashat in Sagittarius in Hebrew, Kashat. Now the planet Saturn is called Shabbatai, and that is in the sign of Capricorn, the goat, and that is Gedi. And if you'll see that there's association to the Hebrew word Gedi with the sign and the goat, and what all that means, and there's always an association. It doesn't just come out of nowhere. It comes out of those ancient Egyptian and ancient Hebrew associations. Remember, Moses knew the magic. He was an Egyptian magician. He knew the magic of Egypt. That's where he learned it. And that's where the Ark of the Covenant came from. It came from Egypt. And they took it with them. Okay? And Moses, you know, he that's where it's all from. So there's a big association between the Egyptian, the Egyptian gods and the Egyptian astrology, and the Hebrew astrology and the Hebrew magic and all that kind of thing, and Kabbalah. It's all associated. Now, regarding the lunar and solar eclipses during the month of January of 2019. Now, we're going to show you for the eclipse. We're going to talk about January 5 to 6. Some places it'll be on the 5th. Some places it'll be on the 6th of 2019. A partial solar eclipse, new moon. Okay, a solar eclipse is always associated with a new moon. All right. Now we're going to give you the exact time frames and that kind of thing. And we're going to zoom in just a little bit for you here. And we're going to make it so that you can focus a little bit more. Okay, so we're zooming in a little bit for you here. So we have here, again, on January 5th to 6th, 2019, partial solar eclipse, new moon in the sign of Capricorn, the goat. Capricorn, the goat. And it's generally affecting everyone in the natural 10th house of social standing and fame, which is associated with the astrology sign of Capricorn. Sol, or the sun, will be specifically in the 3rd house at 15 degrees 25 minutes in Capricorn at maximum eclipse on January 6th, 2019. So the maximum eclipse on January 6th of 2019 at 0100 hours 41 minutes, 26 seconds UTC, okay? Luna or the moon will also be in Capricorn at 15 degrees, 31 minutes. So Luna or the moon in the sign of Capricorn, the goat. Also, see, there's a conjunction, Capricorn, the goat. At 15 degrees, 31 minutes in the third house as well. Conjunction, okay? The third house deals with the attributes of transportation and communication. Now, the main solar and lunar planetary aspects of this event, again, we have Sun conjunct Moon in Capricorn in the third house, and the Moon conjunct Sun, Capricorn, third house. Okay, so this is, Capricorn is associated with the natural 10th house. But on this day at this time, this specific day, the 6th, at this specific maximum eclipse time, 0100 hours, 41 minutes, 26 seconds, UTC, that's UTC, that's similar to Greenwich Mean Time. It's a little different, but it's similar. And so it gives you the same coordinates. Again, if you have other coordinates of other time zones, there could be a difference here, but this is for the main one. So remember, Luna is also going to be in Capricorn and in the third house. And third house has to do with the attributes of transportation and communication. Now, the main solar and lunar planetary aspects of this event, again, Sun conjunct Moon, Moon conjunct Sun, in Capricorn, the goat. Now, zodiac angel Hanael, the sign of Capricorn, and planetary angel of Sol, or the Sun, being Archangel Michael, are the major angelic forces to invoke or invoke into yourself, or invoke into your sacred circle or sacred space, or call upon during this cosmological happening. Okay, now we're going to pull out just a little here for you. Pull back so you can see this a little bit better. Now, we're going to be now changing this for you, because we're going to be bringing up another eclipse that is going to be happening later on in January 2019. Okay, so but as far as this partial solar eclipse and new moon, in Capricorn, zodiac angel Hanael, of the sign of Capricorn, the goat, and planetary angel of Sol, or the Sun, being Archangel Michael, are the major angelic forces to invoke or invoke or call upon during this cosmological happening. This particular solar eclipse is celebrated on a new moon with a Torah reading of Parashat Va'era, occurring on day 28 of the Hebrew month of Tevet, on the Jewish calendar year being 5779. Now, Parashat is a Hebrew word meaning portion, and Va'era is another Hebrew word meaning "and I appeared," which is the first word that God speaks in the Parasha, in the book of Exodus chapter 6 verse 3. Now, Exodus chapter 6 verse 3 in the Webster Bible translation, "And I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob by the name of God Almighty, but by my name Jehovah was I not known to them." Now we're going to get to January 20th to 21st, 2019 total lunar eclipse, blood moon. Excuse me. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Okay. We're going to get to this one with the blood moon, and this is again, it's on January 20th to 21st, 2019. And we're going to get to the specific day for UTC, for the main time zone, and to the specific, it's down to the second, and we're going to get into the specifics of that. I made this little blood moon picture for you here. I utilized pastels here, and then I put watercolors over it, and because this was pastels and they're kind of waxy, it made a nice effect. This is my picture that I wanted to have a little fun here. Okay, now, so we're going to now talk about this January 20th to 21st, 2019 total lunar eclipse, blood moon, full moon, because a total lunar eclipse happens on a full moon, and a blood moon happens at that time in the sign of Leo the Lion. Okay, so we have the sign of Leo the Lion is where the moon is here. Leo the Lion. Okay, so and remember, Leo the Lion is in it's the Ari line of Judah in Hebrew. That's the sign. Now, okay, this the constellation. So. And Leo the Lion generally affecting everyone in the natural fifth house, because Leo's associated with the natural fifth house. See, because it goes Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the natural fifth house, associated with the color gold or yellow, bright yellow, of Leo the Lion, and the natural fifth house of children and creativity. So your creative projects, your kids' creative project, those kind of things, which is associated with the astrology sign of Leo. Okay, now Luna, or the moon, will be specifically in the 8th house on that day, at that time, during this eclipse, specifically in the 8th house of birth, sex, death, and debt at 0 degrees, 48 minutes in Leo at maximum eclipse on January 21st. So the maximum eclipse on January 21st, 2019, and that's at 05 hours. That's 05 hours. 12 minutes and 14 seconds UTC. Now, Sol or the Sun will be in Aquarius at 0 degrees, 51 minutes in the 2nd house. Okay, so this is the sign of Aquarius, which is the 11th house. So it's associated with the natural 11th house. But on that day at that time, it's going to be in the 2nd house. Okay, so although Aquarius, or that constellation, is associated with the 11th house on that day at that time, it's like wheels within wheels. There's a wheel within it that turns, and that's going to be, it's kind of like a Mayan calendars. It's like wheels within wheels. It's the same exact thing. So you have, what you have here is you have on that day at that time, it's in the Sun in is going to be in the sign of Aquarius, and that's going to be in the 2nd house. And the 2nd house is associated with possessions and money and that kind of thing. Okay. Now the main solar and lunar planetary aspects of this event. Okay, so we're going to bring this in a little closer for you. Okay. So for this event, we have the Sun opposing the Moon. The Sun here in Aquarius at 0 degrees opposing the Moon in Leo. It's also at 0 degrees. So they're both in 0 degrees. So there's a direct, that red line, it's an opposition. Okay, it's an opposition. That's intense. Okay, that's, you know, it's like it's a tension. It's like a being against each other. Okay, at that time, conjunctions are complementary with each other, cooperating, and oppositions are against, you know, more heavily. Squares a little bit, you know, a little bit in tension, and trines are very nice and very beneficial energy. So that's the difference. So this can be an intense time. So understand that in these areas that we're talking about. All right. Now, zodiac angel Virchiel of the sign of Leo. Remember, is a planetary and planetary angel of Luna, or the moon, being Archangel Gabriel. So we have for Luna, or the moon, we have the planetary angel Gabriel, and for zodiac angel of Leo, we have Virchiel. Okay, and these are going to be the angelic forces to invoke into oneself, or invoke into your sacred space or sacred circle, or call upon during this cosmological happening. Now, this total lunar eclipse happens on a blood moon. That's why I made the moon red here. I usually make the moons kind of silvery, or kind of purplish, a little light blue, light purple, light, you know, kind of silvery always. But we made it silver and red here to kind of, it's a blood moon, and I made you a nice picture here of a blood moon. Okay, during one of the 4 Jewish New Year celebrations on Hebrew minor holy day or holiday of Tu B'Shavat, occurring on day 15 of the Hebrew month of Shavat, on the Jewish calendar year being 5779. This day is known as New Year for trees. When trees decline in their absorption of water from the ground, you know. So this is also called Rosh Hashanah, or Rosh Hashanah La Lanat in Hebrew, which translate into English as the New Year of the Trees. Okay. Now, if this is, again, it's going to be an intense blood moon. I'm going to bring it back out for you a little bit here. It's going to be an intense blood moon. And it's going to be, there's going to be that opposition between Sol and Luna, Leo and Aquarius. Now, Leo and Aquarius are exactly the opposite on the other side of the chart. I will, Leo, and is the divine tone, okay? Aquarius is I know. Now, we're leaving the age of Pisces, I believe. We're now in the age of Aquarius, which is I know. So now belief, what you believe is not as important as what you know. Who you know, what you know, those kinds of things. So this is going to be very exciting. January, Happy New Year, Happy New Year month, Happy New Year 2019, 5779 on the Hebrew calendar. And so this is going to be a great year. It's going to start off intense, so we want you to be, we're going to get you ready early, okay? Okay, now information found in this document is based on the oral tradition known as Kabbalah, taught to me by Rosicrucian clergy when I was but a young girl, the facts of which I have committed to memory. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again.